Greetings, viewer out there. This is welcoming you to another edition of Insightful Moment with Jare Tiamiyu. Today, we are going to be discussing coronavirus pandemic and how are we going to use effective communication to ensure that we contain this virus in Nigeria. The strategies employed by President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Gboyega Oyetola are going to be, dig into. We are going to talk about them and the information that people are getting. Are they getting accurate information? Why are people not believing that we have coronavirus in Nigeria? Some people are calling it live score, that we are waiting for NCDC to give us live score today. Is it really live score? Why are people thinking that this thing is a live score? We have to look into all this. People want Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari to be speaking to the Nigerians more than the way he has been doing. He has spoken to us 3 times now, and they believe that with this coronavirus, they want to hear from the president more than ever. As they have seen President Donald Trump speaking, he has spoken with the media several times. The same thing the German Vice Chancellor, Angela Merkel, and some other world leaders who have been engaging their citizens as the updates were just coming in. Today, I have a communication expert and public affairs analyst, Mr. Rasheed Adebiyi, from the Department of Mass Communication, Fante University, Osogbo. He's going to be talking to us today, and we are going to be looking at the topic together: effective communication as a tool towards containment of coronavirus pandemic in the country. Let's go to the studio and meet with him. Thank you. As I said earlier, my guest today is a communication expert, a lecturer at the Department of Mass Communication, Fountain University, Osogbo, Mr. Rasheed Adebiyi. Mr. Rasheed, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Today, we are discussing the effective communication as a tool towards the containment of coronavirus pandemic. We want to know if the information that people are getting are enough to are enough for them. Everybody needs information. So the strategies that have been employed by all state governments, even the federal governments, if they are actually working and they are giving us the results that we want, that's what we want to examine today. And then whose role is to dish out information? Whose role is everybody is just sitting at the corner of your room and tell the whole world something that you yourself cannot verify it? Is it the function of everybody to just speak? Sir, let me start from the federal government. People are saying that the president should talk to the country more often than he has been doing. They say that at least they have seen some other presidents across the globe that are, engaging their people at interval. The president has spoken 3 times since the outbreak of this coronavirus pandemic. Do you think the president is doing enough in terms of communication?
For me, those who are agitating that the president should engage more with the Nigerian public are doing so because of the experience we've had, especially during the first term. I think it has become something that is known with Nigerian president to speak more often to international media than to engage the local media. We have some kind of difference during President Olusegun Obasanjo's regime, when we used to have a constant presidential media chat. But of course, each president with their own style of engagement. So I think those who have asked that the president should talk more to Nigerians are not going overboard to ask for such. And the president that has also decided to come out when it is needed is also entitled to his own style and communication pattern. So I think that yes, there is need for Nigerian president, especially the current one, to engage Nigerians more on issues of governance. But as far as the pandemic is concerned, the presidential task force headed by Boss Mustafa briefs Nigerians on daily basis. They talk about the number of cases we have recorded, the number of deaths, the number of people that have been discharged and all. So I think it is it's a good one. On daily basis, Nigerian gets briefed, and when it is necessary for the president to come and give direction, he comes to speak, and that was what happened during the first the first time that he addressed the country when he wanted to introduce the lockdown, and then of course he came back again to also extend, and then he came back again to also ease the lockdown in the selected states. So I think that as far as the management of information is concerned on COVID-19 at the federal level, the government has done well. And one other state which we have to give kudos to is the Lagos State government. As far as the pandemic is concerned, the state government briefs Lagosians and Nigerians on different media on daily basis, giving numbers of the confirmed cases, giving number of deaths, and giving number of discharged people. So I think that as far as that is concerned, as far as the pandemic is concerned, information management at the federal level has been up and doing, but there may be need to re-strategize, because this pandemic is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon. And so as the cases manifest, we begin to again look at the strategy, whether they are working or we need to do more.
But sir, some Nigerians do not believe that there is coronavirus in the country. Some are even saying on social media that as NCDC giving us this live score, you know, they will say what the NCDC is giving is live score because they have seen it in some other country, whereby they've seen people at the isolation centers. You know, they've seen people, the dead ones are also been seen in some countries. Do you think Nigeria government should allow media to, you know, cover those at the isolation centers?
Oh well, for me, I do not subscribe to the fact that we have to show faces of people who are affected by the virus for obvious reasons, for reasons of stigmatization. Yes, it's different when somebody willingly comes out to say, look, I was diagnosed to have had coronavirus. I was taken to an isolation center. I was treated. I came out. I'm doing fine. We have a couple of them that actually did that at the earlier weeks when we had the pandemic in the country. And so, yes, if as a person you decide to do that, yes, you might have understood all the consequences and decide to brave it. But for the government or the media to now go and be showing faces of those who are affected or who are in the isolation centers, giving pictures and all of that, there might be reason for people to begin to stigmatize, because the nature of the virus is such that if today an ambulance comes into this area to come and pick somebody, I know that everybody in that house will relocate. As a matter of fact, everybody on the street will also run away, because nobody wants to actually contract this virus. So for me, those who are asking, yes, have the right to ask, and the government that is actually doing otherwise also has the right to do so. But one thing I have noticed is that, and as I've read, is that countries that are more disciplined, like China, like countries in Asia generally, are rising quickly above the virus than countries that are liberal in their democracy. For instance, you will never see a single video of China where people are dying, or where they keep you. All you will see is how they are responding, okay, to the virus, how they are fumigating, how they are using technology to drive the fight against the virus. So I don't think that we should unnecessarily be asking that faces should be shown. We shouldn't believe. But for those who do not believe, just announcing their area today that somebody has coronavirus, we will know whether they will stay there or
they will run away.
Yes.
Let's bring the matter down to Osun State, the land of fetish. There has been, you know, information management, some people are criticizing it, that the way the state government is managing information is not good enough. They are actually citing the example of when the special advisor to the governor on public health, that's Dr. Olamiju, told the media that there was no other person as isolation center, but some hours later that information was debunked by the commissioner and even from the office of the governor. Do you think they are managing the information very well in the state?
Well, since you have come home, and from the angle you have come in, I would not want us to personalize the issue by looking at a particular person in government or not, but I would just want us to look at the entire communication infrastructure put in place by the government to fight the COVID-19. When the first index case was recorded in Osun, I was among those who were of the opinion that the state did not respond very well in terms of communication. In crisis communication, you have a team and you have a spokesperson. You know that the spokesperson, if it doesn't speak, the spokesperson is the final information clearinghouse. Sometimes, like the Lagos model, it's either you have the governor or the commissioner for health, okay, speaking to the media. So you don't have different people coming up to say things, because it is a crisis. And so before anybody comes out to say anything, it must have been brainstormed over, you know, and all the angles to the issues would have been looked at before a final comprehensive report will eventually come out and then be given to the public. Because during crisis period, the information needs of the people rises, okay, such that everybody will be searching, they'll be looking for different areas. Okay, for instance, the very first time that the lockdown, the total lockdown, the first 2 weeks of total lockdown in Osun, there was a lot of gaps. You know, people could not actually determine when exactly the lockdown was beginning. I received a lot of calls, even from colleagues who are asking questions that when exactly are we having the lockdown? Is it on Tuesday night or on Wednesday morning? So it took some of us the time to begin to explain to people that 11:59 p.m., 12 a.m. is Wednesday morning. And so, unlike what we had in Ekiti, we had a comprehensive press release that stated between what hours, what days, and all. And I think for those who follow me on Facebook, I made references to it, that in crisis communication, your messaging must be comprehensive. Your messaging must be, you know, accurate and detailed to the extent that people will not get confused. In every communication situation, in every crisis communication situation, there must be a team, there must be a spokesperson who eventually serves as the information clearinghouse. And so in Osun, we have not actually done well. As a matter of fact, when the second lockdown, you know, we had the first lockdown.
Yes. Okay.
Then we had another
lockdown,
and then when the second lockdown wanted to be eased, we waited. The governor's there was a statement on the chief press secretary's Facebook page just an hour before 10 that the governor will speak to the state by 10 p.m. and so people were glued. As a matter of fact, people were even, you know, talking about it on social media and other platforms that they've been waiting and all of that. So the broadcast did not come up until 10:30. You don't keep with people waiting during crisis situation, because there is a gap which you need to quickly fill. If you don't fill it, people will fill it with all sorts, and so people begin to say, and before you knew it, people are already you know, talking about different things before the governor eventually came. So, and I think the issue during as we have seen during the pandemic, is as a result of what we have had since the beginning of the government. Myself and a couple of other researchers did a study on the communication infrastructure of the state government.
Sir, I would like you to finish that your line of thoughts after this break. We would like to go on a very short break, but when we come back, we'll dig more into the strategies that the state government in Osun has been using and how we think they can improve it. Most especially, people at the rural area. We have to talk about them. Are they getting the right information? If you move on the street now, many people are not using their face mask because they still don't have the belief that we have coronavirus in the state. How can you communicate this information down to the grassroots? When we come back, we'll continue from there. Please stay tuned. You are welcome back from that very short break. The topic we are discussing once again is effective communication as a way of, as a tool in tackling coronavirus pandemic. And my guest once more is Mr. Rasheed Adebiyi of the Department of Mass Communication, Fante University, Osogbo. Thank you for being with us, sir. You were saying something about the information in Osun State, yes, and then the management, the research that you and your team have carried out. Can you please finish that line of thought?
Yeah, thank you very much. I said the issue we have during the crisis, during the pandemic outbreak in Osun, is a reflection of the communication infrastructure that the state government put in place immediately they came into power. I myself and a couple of other colleagues did a study looking at the communication infrastructure of the state government in relating with people and engaging people, and we discovered that there was a lot of gaps to be filled. One of such recommendations that we came up with, we believe, could have been one of the factors that led to the institutionalizing of Akweru, whose first edition was held before the COVID-19 came. The government needs to do more. Governance, democracy, and communication, they go hand in hand. If you are doing things, you need to let people know what you are doing. If you do not know what you are doing,
it's as if you are not doing it.
It's as if you are not doing it. And not only that, when you have a particular direction that you want people to take, you have to communicate to them. You have to communicate in a very clear manner so that people will understand what you are talking about. So, because the study covered the first 1 year of the administration in office, so we looked at different media platforms that the state could use to engage people and all of that. So I think it was a reflection of that we had during the management of the communication processes during the pandemic. And I think so far the communication team needs to improve in terms of a lot of things. For instance, the comprehensiveness of reports, of releases that are made on COVID-19. Okay, you would recall, and every other person who were in Osun then will recall, when we had before the second lockdown was eased, there was this impression that yes, all the cases in Osun have been discharged. Yes, all of a sudden we heard that some results came in and then some people tested positive, and then people begin to query, people begin to question that there was never a time that the state government even said they were doing contact tracing and were testing. And so it came so sudden, and people are beginning to doubt the veracity of the claim until the government had to reinforce its communication and say, okay, they've been testing, they've done this number of tests. I mean, these are things that are supposed to have been actually been released to the public so that we know that contact tracing and testing was going on. And so when the result came, it will not be strange. However, the result just came and we began to, begin to doubt the veracity of the claim.
You are referring to the second set of Abidjan returnees.
Yes. Is it the second? No, it wasn't even the second.
The 12.
It wasn't the. Is it the second set?
Yes.
The first set was 150
something.
150 something.
And those 127.
127.
Those are the second set. They got 12.
Yeah. Okay. The second set they got 12.
Yes.
The first set they got 18. Okay, so the second set.
Yes.
So we didn't, it just came all of a sudden. And so we feel there are gaps. And as we are speaking right now, I don't think there is a crisis communication team that the state government has set up. I think the state government is using the same infrastructure that it was using when there was no COVID-19 to handle. It doesn't happen that way. It does not happen that way. It doesn't. We need a crisis communication team that will look at it. And we need a single spokesperson that will say, okay, yes, if the governor does not speak, we know this person will speak. But of course, I think it has improved a little bit. If the governor does not speak, the health commissioner will speak, or the commissioner for information, or the CPS, and all of that. So I want to say that we need to improve on this. It's important.
Sir, let's now go down to the grassroots, the people at the rural area. As you said, when the governor wanted to speak the second time, it came around 10:30. Most of these people might have actually slept. And then this information is very important down to the grassroots. Apart from the people at the urban centers who have access to internet, what about people at the urban center? Do you think we are communicating them, giving them the right information? Because there are still movements in the rural areas.
Well, I think it isn't as if there was no communication in the rural areas, because radio has been identified in development communication as a grassroots medium. Almost everybody has it. It doesn't require the use of electricity. It's everywhere. Now you can even carry it. You can have it on all gadgets, even at home and what have you. So I think with the use of radio, the state government-owned radio and some of the private stations around, I think the information should get to the grassroots. But there is a difference between people getting information and people acting according to the information they get. And that, I think, is what has played out. Although it doesn't also preclude the fact that the state government could also go interpersonal. We can have health workers, these people that wear white over ash green.
The nurses?
Not the nurses. These people. I've forgotten the particular name.
Okay, the environmental.
We can use them to drive down the message at the grassroots level.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, if you actually wanted to have a robust infrastructure, it would have been that we decentralize the state, the local government. Okay, each local government will know how to reach people at their places at the grassroots level. After all, when we do campaigns, politicians know how to reach them. So in the same vein, we ought to have actually put down a structure such as that we ensure that when information is coming, it gets to the people. However, it shouldn't be a one-sided information channel. Effective communication is one that is built on appropriate feedback. And in public relations, when every time you push out information without getting feedback, you do what you call press agentry. What I'm just interested in is the information getting out. Whether the feedback is coming or not is an issue. And so we need to take a look at that. For instance, and I've had cause to even say this on the Facebook page of the Commissioner for Information, she does press agentry, especially with issues that concern the state.
You mean the Mrs. Funke Bemoje?
Yes, she does press agentry. I've written it on her Facebook page. I have, maybe in one of those posts she made concerning even this COVID-19. She puts information there. She doesn't even go back to attend to people who have genuine questions and comments and observations. It doesn't happen that way. You need to engage people. It's important, especially because you are online. When you are online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on other social media platforms, you have people that are a little bit that are enlightened and can engage with what you have posted and then can react to it. So it's important that we create some level of feedback for whatever information we are putting out. That's what will make it effective. And so I think the fact that people, despite the fact that we have lockdown, are still moving around. In some places we've seen even people who go to market. I saw a couple of pictures online showing Elisha and during the lockdown, especially in the evenings and all of that. I think we need to make use of community approach to implementing.
Let me now come in from this, sorry for botany. I would like to come in from this point. Some people are saying that the National Orientation Agency, that agency has this network up to the local government. But I've spoken with the DG, said they have it up to local government level. Do you think they are actually doing anything? And then what they are doing, is said enough for doing this?
National Orientation Agency is a tiger on paper. When you look at their structure on paper, you say yes, this should be a structure that can effectively drive some community-based communication messaging. However, in reality, it is not. The National Orientation Agency, I've had courses to speak in fora where people said they don't even know that NOAA is still existing again in Nigeria. And at the beginning of at the time we had the index case in Nigeria, I could recollect very well that the Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the National Orientation Agency is one of the agencies of the government that they will use to drive down messaging concerning COVID-19. But as we speak right now, I don't think they have done anything about it. Even if they have done, I have not actually seen it, I have not felt it. I know that the ministry itself has some messaging on radio where they talk about issues on coronavirus and the issues surrounding it, the preventive measures and all of that, in order to explain to people to understand. But seeing the National Orientation Agency bringing the information down to the people at the grassroots is nowhere to be found.
Okay, thank you so much. That has been the communication expert. That is Mr. Rasheed Adebiyi. He spoke with us a lot, and I think finally, sir, before I conclude, do you have any recommendation to the state governments and even the people on the street? Is there any recommendation, sir?
Well, for the state government, I've said it. They need a crisis communication team. They need a single spokesperson. We have to establish, that protocol, because by the time people are speaking, different people are speaking different things. The state government will have to come and again debunk and all of that. It's going to be a serious problem. So we need a crisis communication team, and then we should shun press agentry in dishing out information that is concerning this COVID-19, because we need input, we need effort. We need feedback from the people to understand whether what we are pushing out is effective or not. And when we want to, as a government, when the government wants to speak with the people, they should make it detailed and comprehensive, such that it will be easier, for an average man on the street to understand what the government is saying. Well, for people, I think it's important that we understand that coronavirus is real. It is ravaging the whole world. It has shut down economies of the world, and as I've said, it's a marathon. We don't know when exactly we are going to come out of it, and so the best way to ensure that we quickly come out of it is to ensure that we stick to the preventive measures. Yes, they've said there should be ban on interstate travel. But as we speak, buses are loading Ibadan and Lagos. You can just move around to popular parks.
Of course, they load Ibadan, go to Odu on daily basis.
What does that imply? It implies that what we are saying is we want this particular situation to continue, because when you go and then you contract and you come back, you create issues for everybody. So people should please adhere strictly to government directives on coronavirus. We should ensure that we use our face masks. We don't have to be prosecuted because the face mask is there to protect you from the virus. So it's important that we stick to the rules. Now that the lockdown has been eased, Monday to Thursday, within certain period of time, you are asked to go out and engage in economic activities and come back in. And Friday to Sunday, there is total lockdown. Let us respect this so that we will be able to get out of the problem as quickly as possible.
Thank you so much, sir. It's nice speaking with you. That was Mr. Rasheed Adebiyi of Department of Mass Communication, Fountain University, Osogbo. As we've heard from him, he has diagnosed the strategies employed by the president and even the state governor of Osun, and he has said those strategies are good, but they need improvement, especially in Osun State. He recommended a lot of things to the government to do in order to ensure that the message are actually, there is no information crisis in the state. That is how far we can go today. I'm Jare Tiamiyu. Till some other time when we come your way again, ensure you subscribe to Insight Next TV on YouTube. Please like our page on Facebook, Insight Next Media. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Insight_Lens. Please, as we move on, ensure you stay safe. Thank you.